How would you feel if Blizz leads up to the obvious Titans equals villains conclusion and the general audience gets mad that they're retconning? I'd feel the same way that I've felt about World of Warcraft for the last 7 years because the general player base doesn't know what's going on anyway. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't really feel that bad about it. Like, how many times can I tell you, you know? How many times can Pyromancer try to tell you? Over the last nearly decade, how many times can this guy try to tell you? I've tried to say it a 1,000 times. And I've also learned, as time has passed on, to see even beyond that conclusion. So, if you believe that I just believe that the Titans are just overtly bad and that everything else is like good or something, that's not the case. That's not the case. I don't even actually see the Titans as overtly bad anymore. I think that they are misled and a little bit bound by their nature, and in that way, I have a little bit of empathy for them, because I feel like, you know, that's kind of a relatable thing. But we as mortals have the opportunity to overcome those base instincts and those things that we are bound to at a cosmic level, and so we have that free will, that capacity to make that choice. So yeah, I think that when you look at the Titans, I think that I could still label one of them as pretty bad. Like, I think that there's still a place for bad guys. I don't think that the story needs to be so gray and ambiguous. I think it's okay for there to be bad guys, but I don't see the whole Titan pantheon as the bad guys. I don't really see that. So yeah, I don't really see it that way. ANR might be the better of them? Perhaps. All the cosmic forces are shades of badness, trying to pass blame on the rest to rise in morality, when they're all pretty much equally guilty. I don't know if the Titans have more free will than any of the other constructs. I don't think they necessarily do. I think that they feel emotions, and I think that they grapple with some of those issues, but I don't think that they have the same kind of free will that we do. And maybe the mistake is that believing that they don't. Maybe the truth is that they do, and we're giving them a little too much leeway in terms of like, oh, you know, maybe they can't. Maybe, I mean, think about the Emerald Dream books from the Dream Patch, where you have that dragon who's basically speculating about the Titans' inability to understand that life and death are sisters, bound together in an eternal kind of dance, so to speak. And the dragon says, do the Titans refuse to see this? Or is it beyond their ability to comprehend it? Can they even perceive this truth? Or are they kind of blinded by, like, because if you think about it this way, if you think about order as like ordering things and dividing them and kind of like bringing them, like, separating and identifying and stuff, like, you might look at it as like if Elune and the Winter Queen, here's what I think, chat. Okay, here, I'm just gonna say it. I think the Titans stole the Winter Queen away, okay? I think that in the folk and fairy tales of Azeroth books that talk about the Eyes of the Earth Mother, I think the short story, I don't think that there's sufficient evidence to prove that the Titans stole the Blue Child away and took her somewhere else. But I think that there's some mild suggestion that leaves open the possibility of them having abducted her and taken her somewhere she didn't know of or didn't really necessarily belong. The first person or group of people that Elune goes to in this in the Embrace story when the Blue Child disappears is the Stars. She goes to them and says, "Oh, Stars, you who can go and see places that even I can't," which, I mean, come on. It's basically saying like, "Oh, Titans, oh, Stars, those who can go everywhere and see everything, do you know where she went?" And they're like, "We did not see her." And she's like, "Okay." And then she gets mad and she goes to Anshe. And she's like, "Yeah, where the fuck is the Blue Child?" And Anshe's like, "I didn't see her. Like, what are you talking about?" And then Elune gets real mad because no one knows where the Blue Child went. And she's fucking pissed. And she gets so fucking mad that she turns into a sun. She turns into an ivory sun and starts to cause like drought and cataclysm on the world because she's not doing her job right anymore, apparently. So that's not very good. That's not very fun. even in being a rebel, Sargeras is still doing pretty Titan-flavored stuff. Yeah, true. Yeah, I would say that the Legion is probably one of the best examples of that. It's one of the most orderly forces in the entire cosmos. It's like seen as like a force of chaos because they're demons and they use fel. But when you think about their tactics and the fact that they're a legion, you know, you kind of think maybe Roman Legion type style thing with legatuses and stuff like that, and you kind of see this very structured, very orderly kind of like rung of chain of command, so to speak. And so the Legion certainly is not inherently chaotic in their actions, even though they allegedly represent a force of chaos, which maybe kind of is a hint at the fact that, like, even if Sargeras allegedly kind of embodies chaos, the fact that he's still trying to bring order, I think kind of shows a little bit that, like, there is a connection between chaos and order. And, like, maybe that connection is one to not the best one to ignore. Like maybe chaos is necessary to help bring about order, you know? Just like death is necessary to help have life, you know, chat? Like, you can't have the dark without the light. You can't have the order without the chaos. You can't have the life without the death. Like, you need to have those things, otherwise you're ignoring and kind of denying the connections between cosmology and cosmological deities and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty clear that the more that you seek to divide into order purely without any influence of chaos or any influence of change, really, because I think it's easy to look at chaos as like a bad thing. You know, I think order is like stasis and chaos is like change. You know, change is not a bad thing. Like, change is always occurring. Our bodies are always changing. The world is always changing. You know, things are always in a constant state of flux. Nothing really ever stays the same, no matter how bad you might want it to. I've said it for a long time, everything's been ordered. We don't see true chaos anywhere. Well, I think that the blend between order and chaos should be one that's very difficult to perceive generally. You know, kind of like Ardenweald. Ardenweald is this realm where, like, life and death meet. And though it's in the realms of death, linked to the Shadowlands, it connects to the realms of life, linked to the dream, and the Dreamlands, I'm going to call them. And you start to see, like, this blending where you're like, is it life or is it death? And maybe that's intentional. Maybe the whole point is that you're not really... They blend together so heavily that they're not meant to be distinctly identifiable. And that is to say, I think this goes into the same concept of when you imply things like life is inherently chaotic. Does that mean like that life is walking around using fel magic and is like, you know, chaos and like what is generally considered to be like evil and stuff? No. It just means that it's chaotic in nature. It's kind of the natural state of it. And should it be a bad guy as a result? No, probably not. Part of life and part of respecting life is understanding the limitations to which it can be controlled. So if you don't respect the limitations to which life can be controlled, then, you know, you might find yourself ordering the fuck out of it like what the Titans did. Or like what Norganon and Aman'Thul have done, or Aenar, as it's kind of presented in the dream, that Aenar is the one that created Nimue, but I'm not so sure about that. That thing is a weaving construct, and we have a Titan named the Dream, with the title Norganon the Dreamweaver. So if you're telling me that the Dreamweaver had nothing to do with the weaving construct Nimue, who's weaving the tapestry of the Dream's order, then you're on crack. I have to believe... At some level, Norganon has to be involved with that. Likely in the same way that Norganon is more than likely, I would think, involved with what happened in the Shadowlands, in that the Primus has memories of Norganon, has a memory of Aenar, and has a memory of the Dark Titan. So